Once upon a time, in a quiet village, surrounded by tall mountains and endless green fields, there lived a young man named Marco. Marco was 24 years old, healthy, educated, and full of potential. From the outside, his life looked normal, but inside, Marco was struggling every single day. Marco's mind was never quiet, from the moment he woke up in the morning until late at night. His head was filled with thoughts about things he had said years ago, mistakes he wished he could change, opportunities he felt he had missed. And then there were the thoughts about the future. What if I fail? What if I disappoint my family? What if I never become successful? These thoughts came like waves, one after another, never stopping. Because of this, Marco felt tired all the time. He smiled less. He slept poorly. Even when he was with people, he felt alone. His mind felt like a storm that never ended. Many nights, Marco sat by his window, staring at the dark sky, asking himself a simple question: why can't I feel peaceful? The story of the wise man. One afternoon, Marco was sitting in a small cafe near the edge of his village. He overheard two old men talking quietly. They were speaking about a wise old man who lived far away, deep in the hills. One of them said he used to be a famous psychologist in the city. Rich people, business leaders, even celebrities went to him for advice. The other man added, but he left everything: the noise, the money, the busy life. Now he lives alone, close to nature. They said that sometimes, when travelers came with heavy hearts, the old man would listen to them and somehow, they would leave feeling lighter. Marco felt something move inside him. For the first time in a long while, he felt hope. That night, Marco couldn't sleep, not because of worry, but because of a decision. He whispered to himself, maybe he can help me. Maybe this is what I need. The journey. The next morning, Marco packed a small bag and began his journey. The road was long and difficult. He walked through dusty paths, crossed quiet villages, and climbed steep hills. Some days were hot, some nights were cold. During the journey, his thoughts still came, but something was different. Now, he was walking toward something, not running away. After many days, tired and hungry, Marco finally reached the village in the hills. It was silent, peaceful. The air felt lighter. At the edge of the village stood a small house, covered in green vines and flowers. On the wooden porch, an old man sat quietly. His back was straight. His eyes were closed. His face was calm, like a still lake. Marco stood there for a moment, unsure. Then he gathered his courage and spoke softly. "Grandfather, may I speak with you?" The old man slowly opened his eyes and smiled a warm, gentle smile. The simple task. Marco sat down and told him everything. His restless thoughts, his regrets about the past, his fear of the future. When he finished, his eyes were wet. The old man listened without interrupting. Then he said calmly, "So, you are searching for peace?" Marco nodded. The old man stood up and said, "Come with me. I will not give you advice. I will give you an experience." He led Marco to a small yard behind the house. There, he filled a glass with water, right to the very top. The water was so full that even the smallest movement could make it spill. The old man handed the glass to Marco and said, "Walk from here to the far end of the village, and then come back. But remember, do not spill a single drop." Marco was confused, but he trusted the old man. He held the glass carefully and began walking. The moment of silence. The village road was narrow and alive. Children were laughing and playing. Shopkeepers were calling customers. Dogs were barking. People were passing by, talking loudly. But Marco didn't notice any of it. His eyes were fixed on the glass. His steps were slow and careful. His breathing became steady. For the first time in years, Marco's mind was not jumping. There was only one thing in his world: the glass of water No past, no future, no future, only now, when Marco returned. The old man smiled. You did well, he said, but tell me, did you see the children playing? Did you hear the dogs barking? Marco shook his head slowly. No, grandfather, I didn't notice anything. The lesson, the old man nodded. That is the lesson, he said gently. When your mind stays fully in the present moment, it becomes quiet. He continued. You were not sad about the past. You were not afraid of the future. You were simply here. Marco felt something change inside him. The old man placed his hand on Marco's shoulder and said, Peace is not something you find outside. It is something you remember inside. Tears rolled down Marco's face, not from sadness, but from relief. He finally understood. A new beginning as the sun began to set. Birds flew back to their nests. The sky turned orange and gold. Marco stood up and bowed his head. Thank you, grandfather, he said softly, when Marco walked away from the village. His steps were lighter. The world was the same, but he was not. His mind was calm, and for the first time in a long time, Marco smiled. Closing perfect for YouTube. Peace is not about escaping life. It is about living fully one moment at a time. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Speaksoft Studio for more peaceful and inspiring stories. Until next time, stay well and stay peaceful.